podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sal Guardo. With me, as always, is former football director of operations Dan Comp and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Hess. Unfortunately, the sledge is not with us tonight. However, this is another victorious edition of the Youngstown State Penguins winning over Townsend 31-28, and another Doug Phillips thrilling fashion comeback fourth quarter win. We'll get into that. Get you ready for the South Dakota State game, update on the top 25 and some other things going on around the league in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. But first, as always, follow us, Whitetown Penguin Podcast. We're everywhere podcasts are available. Please give us a like, a subscribe, a 5-star review. And as always, we are in the YouTube live, and we're streaming live with the chat going on. If anyone wants to get in there, have a question, comment, or some score predictions of their own, please get it in as soon as possible. But we got to dive into what was a crazy game on Flow Sports. I'm sorry it cost $19.99. This is a friendly reminder to cancel your Flow Sports subscription ASAP. Beyond that, before I get into the details, guys, just quick reactions on top of your head. Kurt, Dan, what'd y'all think about that before we get into the weeds of things?
Yeah, I think Coach Kopp and I kind of talked about it as we were just kind of BSing here before the episode. This felt as good as a test of a Missouri Valley Football Conference road game that we could probably drudge up. Like, this was probably the best test that we could have in terms of talent level. You know, they seemed like they were on par. Their offense was making plays. Our offense was making plays. Their defense was making stops. Our defense was making stops. And really, it kind of came down to that. Who's going to put it all together, right? And in my opinion, what I'm most excited about as we get into this a little bit more is football is 1/3 special teams, 1/3 offense, 1/3 defense. We saw clutch plays from the offense, from the defense, and from the special teams, and that's going to go a long way from the season. So I'm definitely excited about what we saw. Flow Sports, I got to just come clean right now. Searle said it was terrible. We were texting in the thread. We don't like to give Searle credit for anything. He's 100% right. Flow Sports was awful. It's completely biased. Thank God we are on ESPN Plus. Quigley just shouted that out on Instagram to us. Let's all take a moment and thank goodness we are on ESPN Plus. But I was excited. I left that game energized from Saturday. So big win for the Penguins and Penguin Nation.
Dan, at the beginning of the offseason, you had this game circled as your must-win, biggest game of the season. Penguins delivered. What's your quick, instant reaction to the win?
You know, we were down 11 points in the fourth quarter, you know, and Curdy and I were chatting real quick. There's been some games where we don't win that game, you know, you know, not just under Coach Phillips. It's and as Kurt said, it felt like a Valley game, you know, and they got some talent, and I think it just spoke volumes to when we've had Coach Phillips on the show, what he's talked about, that culture, and we had adversity, and fortunately it was my game of the year and we won it. So, you know, I think we're going to dive into it, but there's a lot of really good things to talk about.
I text Coach Phillips after the game. I said, hey, they need to make a documentary of you at your time at Youngstown State and just recap all these crazy fourth quarter comeback wins, because he has a ton of them from the 22 season, the 23 season. As long as Doug Phillips, our head coach, you can't count us out in the fourth quarter. It really is crazy. But let's dive into exactly how it went down. First drive the Penguins had was 11 plays, 80 yards. Really drove down the field for a touchdown as Brungard runs it in. But Townsend responds in the second quarter with a touchdown of their own, a quick 4-play, 70-yard drive, and they are up. They get the ball back, and they are not messing around, even though our defense stops them on 3 and what you think is out. Townsend runs a fake punt. Just the next play later, they run a trick play and battles the tailback for Townsend, throws a 33-yard pass to Dunmore, and Townsend takes the momentum and the lead up 14-7. Third quarter, Penguins get the ball. The Penguins go down, and Brungard throws a 2-yard pass to McDonald and puts the Penguins on a tie 14-14. Right when you feel like the Penguins are getting the momentum back, as the defense shuts down Townsend again on a 3-and-out, Townsend runs another fake punt, and that follows up by another touchdown by Dunmore on a 19-yard pass. Townsend now up 21-14. Penguins respond with a field goal going into the fourth quarter. Townsend, another touchdown to start. It's 28-17. And at this point, you are thinking the Penguins are out and down. However, with just 6 minutes left, as the score is 28-17, Penguins respond with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, making it 28-25 after Brungard runs in and Max Tomczak catches the 2-point conversion. Penguins only down 3 with less than 2 minutes. Penguins kick a field goal with 1:30 as Andrew kicks a 48-yard field goal. I didn't think he had a chance of making it, but he made it. And now we are tied with a minute left. I don't know how, but the defense gets the ball back. Penguins go down the field again, 6 plays, 40 yards, walk-off field goal attempt by Andrew, again, 42 yards. And as time expires, the Penguins kick the winning field goal to win 31-28 in dramatic fashion. Again, 6 minutes left. Townsend was up 28-17. Final score, Youngstown State 31-28. Absolutely nuts. Crazy game. I was screaming at my TV the entire time. Kurt, I'll let you get the first crack of this offense. Just give us everything. Good vibes only. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I was a little nervous about Mercyhurst and Robert Morris and then playing Michigan State and then kind of heading into this Towson game thinking we might go a third of the season without knowing who we are. And in terms of this becoming an identity game for us, I'm starting to see a winning formula here, guys, right? Bo Brungard throws for 277. The best thing Bo's doing right now outside of his legs is he's dispersing the ball to plenty of different receivers. I know Coach has depth written up there on his board, and he'll probably talk about that a little bit too. He hit 8 different receivers, and we're starting to see some explosiveness from these receivers. Bo also is taking care of the football, which is huge for us. Bo has, I don't know if he has 1 pick this year. He might just have the 1 interception. We're top 10 nationally in taking care of the ball. And as a team, we're top 10 nationally in turnover margin. We're +6 on the year. So we're tops nationally in what we're doing. And we're in a win. That's winning formula right there. Jaden Gilbert, I know he's not blowing out the stat sheet right now, but he's become a strong, aggressive, dependable back that's being productive with his touches. Bo's going to run for more stats than Jaden Gilbert. We all know that. He's going to throw the ball really well. He's spreading it out to the outside of the field, but you're starting to see us take more vertical shots. And what's really exciting about this past game was when we had 3rd and 6 plus or 3rd and 5 plus, Bo's not running for all those 3rd downs. How many times did we see Max Tomczak with a big 3rd down conversion? Some way or another, whether it's Yursich dialing it up or just maybe Max making a choice route, Max is on a good matchup and he's making the right route read so that Bo knows, hey, if I see this too high safety and I have a good matchup inside with number 4, I'm finding 4 and him and I are on the same page. That's an identity type of play on 3rd down. We're doing really well nationally converting 3rd downs too. Moving on. Flash Wilson. You guys see what's happening with Flash Wilson, right? He's as explosive as it comes. When we played, we had a guy named Andre Stubbs, right? Flash can take the ball at any time, whether it's a bubble screen, whether it's something downfield, or maybe we start doing a little jet sweep where we're tossing it to him. But Flash Wilson has us ranked 2nd nationally in punt or kickoff return yards. And the only team that's ahead of us right now is Marist, and they've had 4 kickoff returns. One of them went for a touchdown. So really, we have the best kickoff return team in the nation too. All right. Bo's kind of coming into his own right now. We're spreading the ball around very well. We're taking care of the football. And our special teams with Lastavka and Kilpatrick, who you guys know what those guys can do. Those are 2 huge kicks at the end of the game. And we have the FCS punter of the year from last year. Not to mention defensively what we're doing, which is Searle's philosophy, the bend, don't break. And I know I'm kind of stepping into defense right here. But the fact that we're winning the turnover margin, I mean, we've gotten 3 fumbles, we've gotten 4 interceptions. We're being opportunistic when we can be. And guys, you know this as good as anyone. This is why it's a Missouri Valley football game. You have a hard time on the road finding your rhythm offensively. It's going to take some time. And we did that. Defensively, we didn't allow big explosive plays. We gave up some because you're going to when you're at somebody else's house. But we didn't let that deter us, and that's why we came back and win the football game, guys. You put all that stuff together, that's a winning formula, and we're one through the season, heading into a bye, and we got the Jackrabbits coming home. I don't know, Sally. I'm liking your pick more and more, man. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I hope that's a lot of good vibes there. Go ahead, DK.
Man, that's a tough one to follow because you nailed everything, Kurt. I mean, I think you spoke about what a couple weeks ago, I was talking about our running back room and the depth in the running back room. How about our wide receiver room?
Yeah.
I mean, and Coach has been talking. You hear him here locally. He's been on our show. So I kind of wrote it down, depth. He's talked about every coach talks about depth, but we're what are we, 5 deep at receiver? I mean, you got Mike Solomon, you got R.K. Dandridge, Max Tomzak, of course, Flash Wilson, our tight end play. You guys have heard me talk for like 3 years. Tight ends, they can be the difference. Kurt, you remember throwing the guys like Charbon, Will Shaw, and those guys that, and I'm probably missing some names, the guys that we had at tight end spot, that, and let alone our running back depth. So our depth is just, it's jumping off the page when you watch us. When you watch a game, you're like, man, these boys have been recruiting and guys are playing. So I thought maybe one of the biggest things, as I said, we were down 14-7 at half, as you said, Sal. We come out and score 24 points in the second half on the road, only give up 14. And Kurt and Sal, you've pointed to it. It's tough on the road when you're down 7 at half. Your road record, everyone's been talking about it, and it showed that mindset, I think, that our guys have of, hey, we're here to play. We really don't care about what has happened in the past, and we're going to come out here and make plays. And I mean, for Andrew Lastovka to make those 2 kicks, he had 2 field goals in 2 minutes, and they weren't chip shots, they weren't extra points. The pressure, and I mean, what more can I say than what Kurt just said? If you're going to win a championship, which is what this group wants to do, what everyone watching and we all want to see happen, is you got to be really good in special teams. And I remember hearing a lot of coaches say cliches, well, cliches are cliches because they're true. You better be really good in special teams if you're going to want to win these kind of games. So, I mean, I think I texted Coach Phillips after the game too, and he was great in his response. And I mean, it's just our offense is coming together, and Bo, Kurt, best on anyone here on the show of watching number 12 just kind of progress into, he's not just, drop back. I'm running, he's making good decisions, and he's got good receivers to throw to. And I'd be remiss if talking about all this and we're not talking about our offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, our offensive line has played well, as is our defensive line. So, I mean, it just was really man, as a Penguin, as we all are, to watch that game and see us win and our guys react the way they did. Just, it feels good. Sal, you said a couple weeks ago in our little chat, it's fun coming on here on Wednesday nights when we're, as I have on the board, 3-1. So hats off to our guys. Hats off to our coaching staff. Sal, I'm going to steal your line from last week. We were absolutely prepared to play because we handled a little bit of adversity. We're down 11 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, so I just, man, all around great vibes. And, now we just got to move on.
Yeah. And just a couple notes I wanted to make on it. First, I thought we were the better team, not just because we won the game, but I mean, throughout, we were better than those guys. And I think the biggest deal breaker that they peeled away and almost won the game, they being Townsend, is it was a momentum shift. Our defense shut them out twice with 2 fake punts that should have never happened, right? That's resulted in touchdowns. You take those 14 points away, we'd have been in control of that game the whole time. As soon as we got momentum with a touchdown and then stopped Townsend with a 3-and-out, they ran a fake punt to continue to gain the momentum back with a touchdown. So, and not to take anything away from Townsend. Townsend was a great team. Two folds on Townsend. One, I was rating Townsend off of getting spanked by Maryland the week before, and we brought it to Michigan State. If y'all watched Maryland last week, they went into Wisconsin and spanked Wisconsin. Maryland could be legit. So I definitely take nothing away from that game now that Townsend lost to Maryland. They're legit. Michigan State, I mean, they're pretty good. I saw that USC game. That aside, one apology I owe you, Dan. That quarterback for Townsend's damn good. You said it on the pregame show from last week. I didn't think he was very good, but I completely take it back. He was good, and our defense shut him down. I think Townsend's going to have a hard time holding on to him for the next 4 years. He's got to be going and moving up in the college football ranks somewhere. He was fantastic. And our defense, one big thing from last year to this year is when we needed our defense to make a stop on fourth down or make a stop and give us the ball back, they answered every single time. Again, Townsend scored 4 touchdowns, but 2 of them, remind you, the defense had a 3-and-out stop, right? So not so much their fault.
Look who it is, baby.
The Sledge.
Yo. Hey, I'm just chiming in. Just big win for our boys last week. Let's just keep it rolling. I'm out of town. I just wanted to chime in real quick. Huge. All right. Huge win.
Yo, this is the highlight of the night. We got the Sledge.
The Sledge is in South Dakota doing some scouting for Coach for Jackrabbits game.
So I'm actually I hunted this week with an Illinois State alum. His son played at South Dakota, graduated last season, so we were chirping back and forth. All good stuff, man. All good stuff.
What part of South Dakota are you in?
Gregory. So we're about.
Yeah, Sal knows where that is. That's why he asks.
Yeah. Like he would know any part of South Dakota.
Oh, I thought he was going to say Sioux Falls.
I flew into Sioux Falls. We're about 2.5 hours away from Vermilion, which is where the Coyotes are.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's hunting with the Yotes podcast, guys.
Yeah, let's just be clear so people aren't, putting stuff out there. Our guy, the Sledge, is out there hunting with our sponsor, the Leiden family. So we don't want any conspiracy theorists out there thinking anything crazy is going on.
My joke, huh?
Well, you never know nowadays. They'll be banning us on podcasts or something. So
no wonder Cyril doesn't want to go to the MAC. Look how beautiful the Missouri Valley Football Conference country
is. Look at this.
Man.
Look at that.
I just had dinner with the cows. Hold on. How do I flip my camera on the phone?
I don't know, dude.
Look at that.
Look at that. That's Valley country right there, boys.
Man.
Look at that play. You can't find
that's
that.
why them Dakota teams, man. They just some big farm boys baling hay. Cattle. That's what they do. That's why they're big.
So. You fit right in out there, Big Sheep. You're pretty good out there, boy.
I could move out here.
24 meals a week out there, huh?
Oh, 32. Maybe 32.
Hey, I've been eating good. I had 2 slices of prime rib last night, lobster tail. That's Paul's contribution to the dinners and stuff. So
let's go.
Not too often you eat lobster tail in South Dakota. I'll just put it that way.
Can I add one more thing? I don't know what's wrong with us. I mean, Sal, Curdy, me. I mean, we're here in our home. The Sledge is getting flown out to the Big Sky, Dakota country, eating ribeyes, eating lobster tail, man. I mean, what do we get? We're like in the early 2000s. We're getting McDonald's and stuff. I mean,
Golden Corral,
Bass Pro Shops. There you go.
Yeah, the official Youngstown State.
We're not eating that Golden Corral junk anymore. We're going to Wendy's.
That was a true line. That was told.
True line.
I don't want to derail the show and make you guys work overtime. So maybe I'll tune in for podcasts after dark. You guys text me. All right.
Light up a stogie for us out there.
Big win this week. All right. Big win. We needed that one.
Love it.
Love it.
All right. I'm tuning out.
Peace.
One last thing I had to say on Townsend that all y'all could chip in. I didn't want to say it was Searle on the pod, but uh, I know Kurt and when Searle, you guys do the broadcast for ESPN Plus for Youngstown State, they make a very big point. Do not be biased at all for Youngstown State. And if anyone got Flow Sports and wants to Townsend and listen to those announcers, I 100% understand why those guys were beyond annoying on the end. I ended up muting when they were just out there talking trash toward Youngstown State and our clock management and this team and we're so much better, and oh my god, it was just too much. I had to mute it until we were lining up and came back for the winning field goals when I unmuted it because I said, I got to hear what these boys are now saying after all the shit they've been talking. And then as soon as we kicked the field goal, Youngstown State watch.
Yeah, I muted the same way. So
it was too much.
But on a brighter note, the one thing I was thinking as you were talking special teams and like offense, defensive line, none of that's possible without them. We know that. But how about the 48-yard field goal? Because if that's a miss,
my God.
Not only from Lastavka, but from the coaching decision, you're thinking, hey, if this guy misses this, Towson gets the ball at midfield. You know, they might get a first down or two. I think there were, 4 minutes left, 4 to 6 minutes left, maybe less than that. And, even if they get one first down, we get the ball with less than a minute left, even if we're lucky and have to drive 90 yards down 3. So that's a huge make, but also big props to Phil on making that call.
How about before that, we scored the touchdown, and when we lined up to do the 2-point conversion, the clock was running out, and we called timeout. And as soon as we called timeout, I was pulling my hair out. I said, we're going to need that timeout. Just kick the extra point.
Yep.
We elected for the timeout. We got our things lined up, got the right personnel on the field. Max gets the 2-point conversion and makes it a 3-point game. Huge.
Well,
great coaching decision.
Yeah. And I got to piggyback on Sal again on what he has said, probably all year, especially Michigan State. The preparation. I remember under Coach Haycock, preparation. You win on Monday through Friday, and I think, Kurt, great academy. To kick that field goal, then to show faith in a guy that with that kind of pressure on the road, man. We don't want to get too above ourselves, but man, it points to everything that we've been talking about. The good teams win those games.
The 3 check marks from last year to this year, not being able to win on the road last year. We're doing that now. Defense, Coach Hanline and the Coach Z combo has been fantastic. The defense coming up, making stops when they needed it. And then thirdly, you don't have these 20-play drives by the offense every single time to score a touchdown. We have explosive plays being done on the road. This team is legit. Any last?
Well, and what I like defensively is we're playing against talented offenses and talented quarterbacks. We will all year long. They're going to score points. They're going to have touchdown drives. Just because we give up a few drives early in the game or early in the second half when coaches make adjustments doesn't mean that we need to give up 35 to 42 points a game. You can still buckle down and get your stops and play good defense while giving up points in this conference. Like, that's something I felt as a player. Every time somebody else scored from the other team, it's like, oh, defense again. Oh, we made this. I don't see that this year. I don't see them blaming each other. I see them going over to the sideline, making adjustments. I don't know if that's the coaching. I love our linebackers, Zandier and Karsten Marshall in the middle there. I think we got good players, smart players on the back end, and those guys are working up front, man. I don't see a lot of finger pointing, and that's a sign of a bad defense. We don't have it this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's another good catch. I mean, Sal spent the most time of us on the defensive side, so he pointed that out. I think maybe it's an evolution of just the scheme that Coach Hanline, and he's had people in and out. We've had a D-line coach move on. We've had a secondary coach go somewhere else. So I believe that is. And that now, Coach Z, who's kind of always been with us, it feels like, is back. And maybe it's just, part of that deal of they're just used to this system. And we got some better players that have grown up and we're playing like it.
Yeah. I just think the defense I don't want to say it's better than the offense, but I love this defense. They're fun to watch. You guys ready to shut down Towson, move on?
We got to Coach Cop's 30 points first, didn't we? 30-20 rule, right?
30-20 rule. Yeah.
That's right.
Let's do
That's right. One more shout out on some score predictions. Gentleman Swag had 28-24. Moss had 31-21. Those were both the closest to the 31-28 final. Everyone had Youngstown State winning. Youngstown State did not cover the 3.5 point spread. Very disappointing, as they were a half point away from covering. Anyway, let's move on to how the rest of the conference did last week and how our picks did. This is why I love that we do that random pick at the end, Dan, because me, you, and Searle, we all tied, and I did win the tiebreaker as TCU did cover, Nebraska did not cover, and Toledo did not cover on the point spread. The biggest game decider, and we'll dive into it, was Southern Illinois. Dan, I thought you were going to win until I realized Southern Illinois won and covered as you had SEMO. But getting into it, North Alabama at Illinois State. Illinois State wins in double overtime, 38-36, with a failed 2-point conversion by North Alabama. That means North Alabama covers the points but does not win. Drake at South Dakota. South Dakota wins 28-21. South Dakota wins but does not cover the points. The Drake does. Indiana State at the Grizz of Montana. Montana just rolls 63-20. That's good enough for a win and cover. Valparaiso at North Dakota. North Dakota hangs 58 points up, 58-7. That's good enough for a win and a cover. As we talked about in length, Youngstown State wins 31-28 at Towson in dramatic fashion, but that just is not enough to cover the points. Murray State at Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State wins and covers 45-10. Southern Illinois at Southeast Missouri State. Southern Illinois wins on the road and covers 59-31. And then lastly, the unis of Northern Iowa are at Utah Tech, and Utah Tech wins, which they were an underdog, but Utah Tech wins 20-9. Just real quick, crazy scores. Kurt, I'll actually have you start off. Anything just real quick, hot take on the conference and what you saw last week or up to the season thus far.
It's funny because as we evolve and get better and build our identity, it seems as though Southern Illinois is seeming to do the same thing right now. And so I think that they're going to be a big factor in this conference one way or the other. I'm not saying that they're going to win it or be top 2 or 3, but they're going to have some competitive games where they may come out on top. So that's somebody to keep an eye on. I think there's the Salukis over there.
DK.
Yeah, I mean, is this North Dakota team, are they the surprise of the conference right now, but boy, they look legit. So that's what I got from just another week of looking at them. And, I don't care if it's Valparaiso or not, but boy, they're looking pretty good so far.
Yeah. If I were to do a straight power rankings, forget last year and all the years prior, just based on what we've seen on the field thus far, you hit it. Both North Dakota schools, North Dakota State, and I would put Southern Illinois on power ranking number 3. They are winning, and they are winning convincingly. There is no overtime, last second. No, they're Southern Illinois, North Dakota, not talked about all off season. They're coming through. South Dakota, Illinois State, talked about all off season, other than the big 2, and they're winning. They're keeping up, but these scores are not very impressive. So we'll see how the rest of it shakes out for the rest of the year. Moving on, updated on the top 25 as Youngstown State continues to climb up on the top 25. Just how the conference is going. North Dakota State still number 1. South Dakota State 2. Illinois State drops back to number 5. Southern Illinois, they drop back a spot to number 12. North Dakota jumps up a couple spots to number 15. South Dakota, they are also jumping up to 18. And just behind them is your Youngstown State Penguins, ranked number 19. And one thing I did want to point out, as we all know, the Penguins opened up with Mercyhurst. Mercyhurst went on the road to Montana State, and I guess I could say they held them to a 17-0 victory. Mercyhurst is looking to be legit. Um, I see them as potentially being the Northeast Conference champs if they keep heading in this direction. But just quick instant reactions, Kurt, on the top 25. Do you take anything away from this?
Yeah, it's just my favorite thing to do weekly is see how many of the Valley teams there are in the top 25 and 7 of the top 19 teams. And it's awesome because you're proud of it. You also realize down the road there might be a log jam of some kind. And that's unfortunate, but you got to make sure that you're on the right side of that and you got to take care of your business. So it's cool that we have 7 teams in the top 19, but it's going to have to shake itself out like it does every year and control your own destiny. This is the time league plays coming up, right? I mean, this is when it all gets real.
Dan?
Only thing I want to point out, it's pretty cool. Former YSU offensive coordinator Brian Wright, who recruited our Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Hess, has
He-dubs.
Northern Arizona ranked in there. So, he's doing a heck of a job out there. But our conference, I mean, like Kurt said, it's ridiculous. So, but that's all I got there on the rankings.
The only thing I have on the rankings, I didn't want to give my 2 cents and correct y'all from last week, but I do want to say this on the rankings. Love them or hate them, the difference in FBS and FCS is FBS now has their, I call it the real ranking. That's the college football playoff ranking, comes out in November. That's their ranking that they pay attention to. At the FCS level, this is the ranking. It doesn't say all and be all, but they look and consider what this ranking is. And this ranking is live. So the further we climb up in this ranking, starting in week 1, week 2, and week 3, which we were unranked, then 25, then 24, now the 19. If we continue to climb it, if let's say we climb it all the way to be number 10 in the country, even though we may or may not think we're the 10th best team in the country, it's legit. We're number 10 on this top 25, and that's taken into consideration when the playoff committee comes together. That's why I love to look at this top 25 and really break it down and look at what is fair and unfair when they come out. Anything else?
Yeah, Coach, you got a good point with if you're athletic director at Northern Arizona right now, you're feeling pretty good because you can kind of avoid some of the Valley Conference teams, but in your back pocket, you've got somebody who's succeeded in that conference before. Now, it was a while ago, but you got to feel good about Brian Wright's experience with this conference as coming from a Northern Arizona team. So I like that take.
Yeah, and we all know Brian, and I was texting him the last couple of weeks, and it's like we text Shane Montgomery, who's at Dartmouth, and we're rooting for him. Eric Wolford at Kentucky, John Haycock at Iowa State. Brian has, and Brian was a head coach at Pitt State, and took them, turned that program around. So obviously he's a good coach, and it's cool to just see a former YSU guy out there, doing some good things.
Alum? Is he an alum or just GA?
He was a GA under Coach Trussell, and then obviously our offensive coordinator for a number of years. Brian, I believe, played at I want to say Walsh, but I could be
Sounds
Walsh
right.
College. Could I should know that. Sorry, B. Right.
You guys want to move forward?
Yeah, now I'm stuck on what college he went to. Baldwin Walsh?
No, he's not. He's not a yellow jacket. No. I think he's a Walsh guy. I guess I got to Google that.
All money on the Walsh. So put it all in. Let's run it, Sally. No, don't look.
No, now I'm looking it up. It is Worcester. Was that how you pronounce it?
Worcester, yeah.
Worcester.
Dang it.
Whoa. Eric Myers.
No, yeah, Worcester. And then he went to Wash he did go to Wash after for grad school.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a GA at Wash before Youngstown State. Anyway, all right, let's run it. Your Youngstown State Penguins this Saturday, September 27th, are on a bye. So nobody tune in this weekend. Just want to make sure. Actually, almost the entire conference is on a bye. The only exception is South Dakota State, North Dakota State, and South Dakota, as we'll get into the details. But North Dakota State and South Dakota are playing as the first conference game kicks off. Side note, if I am the South Dakota athletic director, I am very ticked off that I have no bye weeks this season because I have to play North Dakota State early, and North Dakota State is ending the year with an out-of-conference game against St. Thomas. Makes no sense to me. That would tick me off if the Penguins were handed that set of cards. There's an even number of teams. I've said too much. Anyway, the following weekend, October 4th, your Youngstown State Penguins, number 19, are playing host to number 2. South Dakota State is coming into the Ice Castle, and we are back on ESPN Plus. Big game coming up. Couldn't be more excited to be on the big stage against South Dakota State, coming off a bye week. Very big opportunity for the Penguins. A few things to note about South Dakota State. First off, their head coach, who has gone on to make some national championship runs, Jimmy Rogers, he has left for the Washington State job. So he is now gone. They have replaced him by one of their own, as they always do. Dan Jackson. Is his first season being a head coach ever. He played linebacker at South Dakota State from 03 to 05. Then he coached at South Dakota State right after that, and he stayed there up until about let me see here, from 12 to 19 he was there. Last season he was Idaho's defensive coordinator, though, so he's coming over for Idaho. He led Idaho to the playoffs, made a long run. Montana State ended up knocking him out. Therefore, he's very familiar with the school, very familiar with the landscape, and he is, as of last year, has made a deep run in the FCS playoffs. So this isn't some jamoke coming in to coach. This is a guy that knows what the heck he's doing. South Dakota State, just how about this track record? They've made the playoffs every single year since the 2012 season. So they've very familiar with going to the postseason. They go there all the time. Youngstown State's overall record against them is 4-17 against South Dakota State since we started playing them in 1972. First time we ever beat them was in 1974, and the last time we ever beat them was in 2017 at home. South Dakota State, just quick note, their enrollment's 12,000. Ours is just over 11,000. Very similar type of size school. Try to look up some famous alums. Not want to discredit them. They had a bunch of names. However, being a millennial, I did not know any of them. The only one that stuck out is first-time South Dakota female governor, now Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. We'll get into her later, but I want to say she is also known for the same thing. You guys know this is also, I always got to throw Virginia Tech in there. She is known as the same thing as Michael Vick in a certain status when it comes to dogs, or those of you who have read her book or been able to look that up. But moving on, how have they done? Last year, they did fantastic. They only lost to two teams, Oklahoma State, opening weekend, which now looking back, that was kind of a pathetic loss, knowing who Oklahoma State is now. And then North Dakota State, they lost to North Dakota State 13-9 in the regular season, and then in the national championship, 28-21. That's pretty fantastic. So they really only lost to one FCS team last year, being their big rivals. How have they done this season? They started with Sacramento State, beating them 20-3. At Montana State, which was a number 1 versus 2 game, absolute thriller, double overtime, 30-24 as the Jackrabbits won, and then they beat Drake 37-21. So they are 3-0 right now. So the Jackrabbits 3-0. They have a game this weekend, even though we have a bye. Just want to throw that out there as they are playing, I believe, Mercyhurst of all teams.
Hey-o.
So that will be very interesting if you're looking for a game to watch this weekend. But before we dive into that and more, Kurt, what do you think about these Jackrabbits this year?
Sal, you gave some great information, and without sounding like I admire them so much, the more you read about the Jackrabbits, the more impressed you are with them. To add to your awesome knowledge, I saw a couple that I wanted to add into, which is since they joined the conference in 2008, they are the only team who has not had a losing season. 18 years. So as good as the Bison have been, as many national titles as they have not had a losing season since joining in 2008. To go along with when they joined in 2008, SDSU has had 6 conference wins 10 times in 18 seasons. In those 18 seasons, how many have YSU had? Seasons where we have 6 conference wins. 1. 2016, Bo Pelini, national title runner-up game. That's impressive that they can pull off 6 conference wins 10 times since being in here. And so the more and more I read about them, the more and more I'm impressed with them. That being said, for this year, I think they need this game more than they've ever needed this game. Now, I know we're a week ahead of it, but they're not convincingly, Sal, that was the best word I think you've used in the podcast so far for Southern Illinois. They have not convincingly been beating people. They're coming on the road, and they have a very, very hard schedule coming up. I think that they've got a good running back. South Dakota State's Julius Loffridge, I think is how you say his name. He's had 3 seasons at Fordham. He's 6 foot, 215 pounds. He can pretty much do it all. He's a bruising, big, strong back that's probably trying to make it to the league. He's had 3 seasons at Fordham. Each of those seasons, he basically had 1,000 yards. He's had over 3,000 yards at Fordham. So he's an experienced back. He plays well. Chase Mason's their quarterback. I think he's very efficient. He's throwing the ball 71% or above, 5 touchdowns. I don't think he's thrown a pick yet. I don't think he's been asked to do a whole lot yet. And at South Dakota State, you can see with Mark Gronowski over at Iowa, right? That was going to be a good transfer for Gronowski to get out of here to try to get some NFL film for somebody. But he hasn't been asked to do much. And yeah, he was the Walter Payton winner and finalist, and he's won multiple titles, but it doesn't necessarily translate to your talents and your ability to throw the ball at a really high level. So I'm interested to see what kind of season Chase Mason has. I think he can manage the game. I think he could probably hit some big plays. And they're always going to play really good defense. But at as much as I'm impressed with them, as much as I admire them, I think that they really need this game because we are kind of evolving. We're becoming our own identity. I'm really glad we're playing them when we get to play them because they have a long road ahead. If they lose to us, their season's going to kind of get flipped upside down because they got some daunting games left. I think they finished the season at North Dakota, who we're all really impressed with right now. I think they have the Bison at home. We play them. They come play at our place. They come play. It's either Southern Illinois or Illinois State. I mean, they got a pretty rocky schedule. So they're going to be looking to get this conference play on. And that kind of makes them very dangerous, right? Usually we're playing South Dakota State, and it feels like we're just going to get waxed. It's not this year. There's expectations on both sides, and I'm anxious to see what's going to happen. There's, as my boy Jay Crum says on Instagram, he just shouted out, I don't think there's a reason not to be at the game on Saturday. Is there a good reason to not be there? I don't know if there is, right? Like this is probably the biggest one we've had in a while.
Well said. And it's like September, great weather, 6 p.m. night game. Number 2's coming to town. Stakes are high coming off the Townsend win. You're feeling great. I second that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Kind of feels like our first season plan was when we went 3-8. We had Southern Ill coming to town. They hadn't lost a conference game in 2 or 3 years. They came into our house. We ended up beating them maybe 28-21. There were just expectations on both sides. And it was like, wow, Youngstown State just beat the Salukis, who hadn't lost in how many years, right?
Yeah. Well, who was the I'm sorry, I may have just gave the answer away. Who was the offensive coordinator of the Salukis that game?
Phil Longo.
No, you're talking about Longo joined our team, right, Kurt?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the year before. Phil was on Jerry Kill's staff, right?
Yeah.
Or was Dave Doran already the head coach?
No, you're talking about 2010, right, Kurt? Or 2011?
2010 when we swiped Phil. Yep. Phil was on our side.
And who did they replace him with? Does anyone know?
I don't know that answer. If it's a Virginia Tech person, I'm just going to hang up now.
It was Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer.
Wow.
It's your fun facts of the day. Anyway,
wow.
I did not know
shut him down. Yeah, they replaced Phil Longo with Kalen DeBoer, which
he was the OC.
Yeah,
wow.
When we beat him, we finally were able to beat. Yeah. So I remember watching the offense on film, and and people are like, oh, their offense sucks. Their offense sucks. And now we know that guy replaced Nick Saban. So
Wow.
anyway, go ahead.
I bet we
Ian.
weren't running slide special though, were we?
Sal, you always come up with some good history
one.
there. That might be the find
one.
of the year right there. That was
So.
good. I think we all have looked at South Dakota State. I remember the first year we played them here. Didn't they come to us in 07? 08 was our first trip out there. Or maybe we beat them 08 out there. We got drubbed.
08, yeah,
we
got
got
out there on
drubbed.
Hobo Day.
Yeah, we got beat 40-8. It was the week after the Ohio State game. But I think in 09, John had a couple of good years against both Dakota schools. But he would always say, like, man, this South Dakota State's going to be, the real deal. And then obviously Eric always talked about, and you guys remember, the standard was South Dakota State. Even though North Dakota State obviously was kind of hitting their stride there, it was always, man, we got to find a way to beat the Jackrabbits. So, Sal, as you mentioned, their head coach is another, he's got deep ties to, Brookings and their whole coaching, not the entire coaching staff, but I looked at their staff. A lot of those guys played there or coached there, had gone to other places and have come back. So they kind of have a system there of guys that have coached there, understand what the expectations are. They're kind of doing good with my 30-20 rule. They're scoring 29 a game, only giving up 16, but they've only played 3 games. They're really balanced. They're averaging 191 a game rushing, 196 a game passing. So typical South Dakota State team, they're balanced. Their time of possession is almost 36 minutes a game. Kurt, you mentioned that running back number 15, Julius, I think Lothridge. He's a senior. And another, that term bell cow, South Dakota State. Who was the guy that's in the NFL? Pierre.
Isaiah Davis for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, go back through the teams of the running back South Dakota State has had. I'm forgetting the guy who played in the NFL that was really good.
Oh, played for the Lions.
Yeah, I mean,
Zach Zenner was when
Zach Zenner. I mean,
Davis most recently was with the Jets. So
yeah,
and they end up being real special teams players too in the league because they're that's the culture they come from.
Yeah, they got, the thing that kind of stands out to me, and sometimes you talk to people who in Youngstown who don't know anything about the Dakota schools. Obviously, they come to the games, but I don't think people, really understand or can appreciate. You guys do, of course, the length of South Dakota State, and you can't coach length. Their average height of their wide receiver and tight ends is just over 6'3". That's average wide receiver tight end. They always have length. They got these big dudes that and they can create matchup problems, especially with corners or, so that kind of jumps out to me as something they've always had, is that great length. And, we got to find some ways to match up on those guys. And, so they're going to be the typical South Dakota State team in the essence of they'll be disciplined. They're not going to, have a bunch of penalties. They're going to be sound in all 3 phases, but I'm with you guys. This game is shaping up to be kind of like in 2012 when we went and beat Pitt and we came back to play Northern Iowa. It was a sellout night game. Unfortunately, it rained pregame, but we hadn't beat Northern Iowa in forever, and the city went crazy for the game. And well, we know what happened that night. We had a great win, and so it reminds me a little bit of this buildup of what we're about to have, that night game, 6:00 on the 4th. And man, I think everything's trending to make it all of those things. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll be dialed in, but it'll be interesting. I think, Sal, you mentioned to watch Mercyhurst. Boy, what is this schedule Mercyhurst has? Are you kidding me? I mean, man, I don't know if the AD doesn't like the head coach or they're just trying to make some money. And I say that jokingly, but man, they're going to find out real quick what Brookings is all about going out there. And but it'll be interesting to see how that quarterback from Mercyhurst does out there, and because South Dakota State will be ready to go.
Yeah, Coach, that running back. Sorry, Sal. That running back's Pierre Strong.
Pierre Strong.
Thinking about Pierre from the South Dakota Coyotes who just got hurt. I think he was out for season, but Pierre Strong, like 4,500 yards or something.
Oh,
for Jackrabbits. Yeah, big time.
They always got a guy that can flat out just, hand them the ball. They're going to run power a day, iso, all the things that they do, and so it'll be, they'll be ready.
One thing I do want, I probably should have put this in the game day notes. Shout out to my boy Chris Elkins sent me this article from Hero Sports. Don't quote me. This is a Hero Sports article that they listed the FCS football budgets. Coming in at number 1 is South Dakota State at a yearly football budget at over 9.6 million. And just for a comparison, the North Dakota State Dynasty is actually 6.5 million. So they're spending 3 million more than their rival is. And it's just a comparison. Youngstown State on this list, again, not sure how factual this is at 5 million. So we're in the ballpark roughly of where everyone else is in the conference, more on the top end, but they are double than everyone else in the conference. So they are spending. A couple other notes is, even though they were as legit as they were the last couple of years, again, as we all know, their quarterback transferred to Iowa, starting for the Hawkeyes. And as I mentioned before, their head coach has moved on to Washington State. I don't want to call it a rebuild because they don't rebuild, they only reload. But they're not reloading as well as they traditionally do. This is as I spoke about, and I don't want to call any of our co-hosts, I was picked on by one of our co-hosts that
the one who's not here.
Yeah, I'll say why he's not here. For calling out that this is an upset win that I could see the Penguins winning, knowing that South Dakota State was going to be a little down. And then it's a lot easier knowing that Youngstown State's even better than I predicted. Youngstown original, shout out to you in the chat. He said this is the most talented or the best team Coach Phillips has had thus far, Youngstown State. I second that. I think his 22 and 23 team had a few NFL-worthy stars, but I think across the board, everyone is above average to a great player starting for the Penguins right now. It's not just Julie or whoever. It's not Mitch Davidson, or everyone is legit from it's a lot of weapons, offensive line, defensive line. I think this is a game we're going to win. Before I go into my score predictions and ask y'all for yours, just real quick, I know Dan already said his. Kurt, do you have any quick stories from either watching or playing against South Dakota State that you remember or sticks out to you? Negative or positive or funny?
Not many that I'm probably allowed to share. I remember the one time it was really cold up there. It was maybe 2012 or 2011, and it was probably hobo day. So it was the day the student were getting crazy, and they set up a kind of a tent for us over on the side, and it's kind of a makeshift locker room. And we came in, we played a terrible first half, and they got the heaters for us we're walking in, and the coaches are just reaming people left and right. And we're like, I think everybody who's tailgating outside of Hobo Day can probably hear our coaches just ripping our asses right now. And, you just kind of go off to the side, and coaches are screaming and trying to make adjustments and calling you names left and right and trying to, and then you just kind of sit back and you're like, are there people 3 feet behind us outside this tent grilling hot dogs? And there were. So it was that makeshift locker room before they did their big time renovation. And, what made it even more embarrassing is how bad you were playing is now the entire South Dakota State nation, Jackrabbit Nation's behind you. Just listen to the coaches give it to all the players. So I think that was probably one of the most embarrassing locker rooms we were in.
I was going to actually you almost took what I was going to say. I was going to mention that
it
too.
all kind of blends together.
They're spending $9.6 million now, but before they were, when they first entered the conference and went from Division II to Division I AA, we ended up, I say the visiting team ended up moving into their home locker room when they built new locker rooms. But before that, their former locker room, I swear I still have just nightmares remembering this. The shower and the toilet situation was they'd have a toilet, then a shower faucet, then a toilet, then a shower faucet with no curtains. So someone would be showering and there'd be two guys going to the bathroom on both sides of them. And I'm not talking like 20 feet away. I mean, like you could high five the guy next to you was going to the bathroom while you're taking a shower. And I was like, dude, this is not sanitary. I can't believe this school has to have a little bit more money than this. This is ridiculous.
In terms of a story on the field, I did have one that I never did in the 45 games that I played. This was the only time I did this one thing. I threw a field out and the ball was late. Guy cuts in from the inside and picks me off. And it's basically him versus me. And DBs are a lot faster than what I was. I wasn't Bo Brungard. It's me and the DB or this guy's scoring. And Montgomery's rule was, listen, if you're going to throw an interception, you bring his you-know-what down. Like, he's not scoring. You make sure that he does not score. And so I'm darting toward this guy to the field out. And so I'm hauling. And as soon as I get to him, and I had maybe 4 tackles my whole career, he just cuts back inside. I stick my leg out, and I actually tripped the guy. And so that's the first time that I had ever tripped somebody. And their sidelines yelling, "Oh, he tripped him! He tripped him!" I did not get flagged for that, but it was pretty funny on film. And Shane's in there the next day. He goes, "Hey, Kurt, you're not allowed to do this, by the way." And if it comes to, I was like, Shane, your rule was don't let him score, right?
That's
it's a
right.
15-yard penalty or a touchdown. I'm taking the 15-yard penalty every time. So
no doubt.
I did not get the flag for it, though. I'll always remember that play.
If I can share just a little tag on to your story, Sal.
Yeah.
The first year we went out there in 2008, Sal, you were on the trip.
My freshman year. Yeah.
Your freshman year. The locker room was in like the gymnasium, remember? Through 2 tailgate lots.
Yeah, it was far.
So we get dropped off and we walk to this locker room and then, we come out for like, specialties and QBs and we come out and by the time, we're getting dressed, guys, the tailgate lot had kind of filled up. So Coach Haycock, we're looking, we're walking. We didn't bring any YSU police with us at that time yet. We're walking through basically a tailgate lot. And the things these people are saying to our kids, I can't repeat right now. And I remember Michael Savage about snatched up one of their hobos. And Coach Haycock's like, coming in between. I'm thinking, this is. Then we had to walk back. I'm not kidding you, Sal. Call me out if I'm. This had to be, I would say, the equivalent of walking from the big tailgate lot by McDonald's to the stadium. Like, not like the opposite end of the tailgate. I think we walked every bit of 100 we walked the football field to get to the sidelines. And then now we have to go back before kickoff.
Right.
I mean, people are saying things, they're throwing things. I'm like, this, and then we didn't
walk back at halftime. I think halftime we stayed.
No. There was a group of guys had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Guys had to use the restrooms. I mean, so it was just, and then last thing I'll say is you touched on it, Sal. If people don't think football in South Dakota's it, you just said $9 million is their football budget. We're talking Brookings, South Dakota.
9.
We're not talking Las Vegas or New York. I mean, $9 million. That's basically almost double what we spend, and yet people think we spend too much on football. So it goes to show you how much they care about it out there. So.
Well, let's get some score predictions in. I don't mind. I'll kick it off. Again, I picked the upset. I'm sticking with my upset. I think it's going to be very, very low scoring. I think our defense is going to come through strong, and so is theirs. I have the Penguins winning 20-17.
Yeah, I think South Dakota State's going to score some points, so I think we're going to have to reach that 30 threshold if we're going to win. I'm riding high off of last week, so I'm going to actually go the same as the Towson score. I'm going to stay 31-28 Penguins.
So I didn't know we were picking games today. I must have missed that in the script. But I did see you had a line, Sal, of we're getting 20.5.
Yeah, 20.5.
You can give me that all day and all night. So give me those points because you guys know how I feel about predictions. But give me those points all day long.
Now, again, Kurt and I were talking about, do we do this pick in the show next week or do we do it just after the Townsend game? I think doing it right after the Townsend game, there's a lot of biased, great vibes going on because everyone's paying the Penguins. Jason Chrome, 31-28 as well, Youngstown State. Mark Quigley, 30-28. Gentleman Swag, 35-28, Youngstown State. Uh, Everyone has Youngstown State beating the number 2 team in the country. I love it. Biased, yes, but guys, if we don't do it this time, I don't know when we're going to beat South Dakota State again, not knowing what's to come the following years, but I feel better about this opportunity than I ever had. But let's get into the rest of the games. Again, there is only 2 games going on in the conference this Saturday, September 27th. The very first conference game, South Dakota Yotes are at Fargo of North Dakota State, 2 p.m. North Dakota State is a minus 17.5 favorite. I have them going to win and cover.
You made the Yotes with the points. I know they're not playing very well, but it is conference game. I think that they're both going to be ready to play. I could see the Bison winning by 14, but give me the Yotes with the points.
I'll take the Bison like you did, Sal.
Yeah, and to your defense, Dan, Kurt, North Dakota State has not been very good at all covering the points all season, which it's a lot of points they always have to cover, but I don't think they've done it yet. Mercyhurst, our boys at Mercyhurst, they are at South Dakota State as South Dakota State has to play while we all rest on our bye. 3 p.m. They're giving the Jackrabbits a 45.5 point spread. Not after what I saw last week with Mercyhurst. Yes, the Jackrabbits win, but they're not winning by any more than 45. Give me Mercyhurst on the points.
I'll take Mercyhurst with the points, but the thing I would be very interested in is how injured or how banged up is Mercyhurst, because they've had a lot of travel and a lot of big games. So are they banged up? If they are, watch out for the Jacks.
Yeah, man, boy, they're going out there for the first time ever. I'm not sure if they know what they're in for, but man, 46 points is crazy. I'm just going to take Mercyhurst just because we're a good football team and they gave us some fits.
Now, keep in mind, they were just at Montana State, never been out there, but I'm sure that environment is somewhat relevant to South Dakota State. The following week, October 4th, is when the Penguins are back in action, and so is the rest of the conference. Murray State is at South Dakota to kick off their conference play. 3 p.m. South Dakota minus 29.5. South Dakota will definitely win, but I'm going Murray State on the points.
I'll take the Yotes again and win and cover.
I'll go with the Racers. Give me those points with Murray State.
North Dakota is at the Unidome of Northern Iowa, 5 p.m. North Dakota being a road favorite at minus 9.5. I have North Dakota winning and covering as the number 2 team in the conference.
I'll take Northern Iowa with the points. At home, a different team in the Unidome.
I agree, but I'll take North Dakota to win, but not cover.
South Dakota State, as we mentioned, they are a 20.5 favorite at the Ice Castle against your Youngstown State Penguins, 6 p.m. on what should be a beautiful evening. I think we all took the Penguins to, well, Kurt and I took the money line. Dan took the Penguins on the point. So I think we are all in on the Penguins, and so is the YouTube chat. Moving on to North Dakota State is at Illinois State. Huge game as Fargo has to go on the road. Number 1 at number 5 is Illinois State. Redbirds for real. We will find out. That is 7 p.m., so we'll be able to catch the end of that one after ours. North Dakota State is a minus 20.5 favorite. I have North Dakota State winning, but I don't think they win by 3 touchdowns. Give me the Redbirds on the points.
I'll take Redbirds on the points. Watch out. They might win that one.
Yeah, I'll take those points too.
Lastly, Indiana State is at the Southern Illinois Salukis at the same time, 7 p.m. Salukis, 24.5 points. I think they win by exactly 24. Give me the Salukis on the win, but Indiana State, I think, will cover the points.
I'll do the same as that.
Give me Southern Ill. with they'll win and cover.
Danny. And then lastly, FBS picks or an SCS pick, whichever you want. It could be from this week or the following week. I didn't put that in there. Dan, if you need to look it up, go ahead, take your time. First thing that stuck out to me was Florida State. I'm obviously very biased for and against both these teams. I have Florida State winning and covering as they're going on the road against Virginia and need to cover 7.5 points. Give me the Seminoles.
Seminoles. Are we picking yours too?
No, you pick whatever you want. You could pick mine or pick your own.
No, I want to pick my own because I want to do the Lane Kiffin Bowl because Landry Kiffin, Lane Kiffin's daughter, is allegedly dating the starting linebacker Whit Weeks from LSU. So what do we like there? Because Ole Miss is giving 1.5 or getting 1.5. Sorry, they're favored to win in. I like Lane Kiffin here because Brian Kelly kind of poops his pants in the big game. So give me Ole Miss.
Rebs. Sal, I just before the show, QB1 gave me that we were picking. He had his pick, so I was able to look real quick. I'm going to go Arizona State at home against TCU. Defensive coordinator Brian Ward at Arizona State used to be at Western Illinois. Got to know him. Great dude. So give me Arizona State.
What's the line?
I think it's 3.5.
3.5.
They're giving 3.5. Yeah, no, Arizona State's giving 3.5.
Wow. I'd like to challenge you on that, but I think TCU is really good. All right, so I got Arizona State covering 3.5 on that, and then we'll have to try to get the Sludges picks in before Saturday. Any Instagram comments, Curdy, that's worth sharing?
Yeah, I kind of shared the other two that we already have, but, Crum brought up another point. We have another Youngstown State Penguin in the NFL right now who's playing active roster, Keon Martin, who played in the early 2020s for us before he transferred to Louisiana. He's playing defensive back for the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out Coach Delisio over there. We've got another Penguin out playing defense now in the NFL. So we got Drew Ogletree, Jaleel's still out there, Bryce Oliver, and then Keon Martin. So, we get an opportunity in the offseason to get a couple of these guys on the show. I know that these guys are happy to come on the show. They're just super busy right now, which I don't blame them. That would be another one to get on. Get him on maybe with Coach Delisio at the same time and see what that Ravens organization is all about. From a Bengals perspective, I love them, but also hate them, right? Because the Ravens are what we want to be. But, best of luck to him this season. And I think he was only with us for maybe a year or two. But best of luck. We got another Penguin in the NFL.
Yeah, I know you guys know that Stroll's usually the YouTube chat guy. I find it very hard to both host and cover the chat, but I tried my best. It was humming. A lot of great conversations. It looked like, unless I'm wrong, it looked like Michael Metz was at the game, said it was great in person. Hats off to him for making the trip. Definitely saw someone mention something negative about the special team coach. Let's keep in mind that the kicker did not only phenomenal, but the punter is the best punter in the country. So thus it's a little hard to give him a hard time with those two fake punts, as he does have one of the best kickers and punters in the country. And Bryce Oliver giving a shout out to the Penguins coming in late on the chat. Always love to see him in the chat.
What up, Bryce?
Dan, any shout outs from any Penguins either in high school or around town?
Well, we got to give a shout out to, obviously, she's a big time Penguin. Nicole Kent Strollo sent us the picture last week of the Towson game. Kurt, you hit it up onto the page there of 91. And, her husband Ron was in the photo with Roscoe, Simoncic, Gerber, Kokis, Tamron Smith. So thanks, Nicole, for sending that pic to me. And we posted it. So I think that gave us some good juju, brought some good juju for the win that we went back to 91. And remember, Nicole also presented the idea for us to announce Chris Elkins getting into the Hall of Fame on this podcast. So Nicole's kind of like our producer. I mean, she knows what's going on. So big shout out to her. Thanks, Nicole, and she loves to watch the show. So thanks, Nicole, and we appreciate it because that pick Man, can we set that as like the background or something, Sal? Maybe when you know.
Couple things. They did show a highlight of that game during the game. If you saw, they showed the highlight of us jumping in for the touchdown in the mud. And then I think I would say she's fairly connected to probably help us get on as a college game day show pregame that we keep talking about. Maybe she's the one that needs to help us take that launch or the next step on how to do it.
Well, if she listens, Nicole, maybe we're trying to get and we've talked to Trevor, so let's give Trev some love. We got to put this together. Maybe she can help us get with Dr. Earnhardt and think of a way to make that happen. But thanks, Nicole, for always helping us out.
Love it. Any last words before we lock it up, boys?
All good, man.
Again, you have been watching the Youngstown Penguin Football Podcast. We are not on this weekend as the Penguins are on a bye. However, October 4th, 6 p.m., Ice Castle, number 2, South Dakota State is at Youngstown State. We are back on ESPN Plus. Thank goodness. And we need you to please follow our Instagram page, Whitetown Penguin Podcast. We will let you know if we will be back next Wednesday or not, or any upcoming episodes. Other than the bye week, we are always on every Wednesday, 8 p.m. on YouTube Live. You could find us. But again, I'm Sal Guardo. That's Dan Kopp. That's Kurt Hus. Please give us a 5-star review, a like, and follow us on Instagram, Whitetown Penguin Podcast. And as always, you are watching the Youngstown Penguin Football Podcast. Go Penguins.